Book announcement, Forgotten Stories Remembered by Zachary. That's me. Forgotten Stories Remembered, which will be published June 2021 by Propertius Press, is an intriguing collection of real-life stories on down-home, down-to-earth Black life. Part one of Forgotten Stories Remembered is a collection of autobiographical stories from my childhood in Anniston, Alabama, surrounded by civil rights activists and teachers, leaders, my favorite experiences in college, my service in the military, and activism throughout that time, later in life as a poet, chaplain, and facilitator. These stories are not my own per se. These stories contain a legacy and a history handed down and refined from generation to generation, preserving and nurturing the moral of why we live the way we do as a people. These stories explore why, as Black folk, we were able to survive and endure certain degrading circumstances, all for our vision of the future and an outcome which would be long in the making. These stories bring out the day-to-day struggles and experiences of a people under siege and how we triumphed over all that confronted us under Jim Crow. They depict the ongoing coping mechanisms of our people, seen from such things as watching Black men and Black women take off on a chilly Friday afternoon for a weekend of fishing in order to be ready to return to work on Monday and endure another week with, as they call it, Miss Ann or Mr. Charlie. They paint a picture of our successful regrouping while in the military by studying the ARs, Army regulations, and organizing selectively and privately amongst ourselves in order to come to no ills with the U.S. military when we staged a demonstration, one of the few, at the U.S. Army headquarters in Germany. Now, part two of the book, called Interviews with Myself to You in the Universe. It contains a collection of self-done interviews on various subjects and topics, all related to the spicy stories of part one. These interviews elaborate upon the moral dilemmas and triumphs of those stories and provide further insight into what they meant for us then and what they mean and can mean for us now as a transforming culture moving steadily, though perhaps not linearly, forward into a new paradigm. The need for these self-styled interviews were born out of the feeling that the matter was never truly accomplished in a satisfactory way after each of my interviews with the national news media, NPR, other journalists, venues throughout the area, CNN. My intention was to structure the interviews to address a number of different subjects which I feel are culturally and historically based, and at the same time, a directive for a solution-based rhetoric. Both part one and part two of Forgotten Stories Remembered lead with a raw, forthright storytelling interwoven with epiphanies revealed throughout my lifetime. Yes, one of my earliest epiphanies at the age of 3 or 5 years occurred after returning from an event at a dairy farm during Jim Crow. My keen comment at such a young age and having only just been weaned from the breast maybe 10 months before was that I know what those people are trying to do. And everybody stopped in the room and said, "What?" And I said, "They're trying to get women to stop breastfeeding and use the milk bottle instead." I offer this as just a small example of the subtle yet potent observation of this point in history and its effect on Black life. Throughout these pages, I invite the reader not only to solemnly look at the past, but to a joyful quest of playfulness and alertness and aliveness which resides in the hearts of our collective experience as Black folk. I offer you, the reader, a window view into my unique and lively experience growing up in Alabama in a thriving Black community, surrounded by civil rights leaders and regular folk just living. I offer you a vision of this experience, watching people come and go from home, but always with a smile, but always with a watchful eye, always with a strong sense of humor, especially about the white man, and a look that spoke of resilience and never forgetting, yet moving forward always. To ensure the success of this book, upon its June publication this summer, 2021, I'm reaching out to you and my extended community worldwide to request your participation. Attached to this letter, you will find a 75-page abridged version of Forgotten Stories Remembered. So I humbly request that you read part of all of my abridged manuscript and respond with a blurb or review describing the book or your own personal experience reading it. I also welcome your personal comments, and please feel free to pass this on to anyone you know who may be interested in reading and reviewing. Any amount of your participation, whether it is to be one phrase blurb or a full page review, would be of enormous help to me and to getting these stories out into a world we truly need them. Thank you.